Hi everyone, it's Kathleen Sokolowski, and I am going to talk to you about my reflections on Chapter 3 and 4 for Do-It-Yourself Literacy for Cyber PD. So first, I just have to say that here is my comfort zone, and here is where the magic happens. So my comfort zone has definitely been more with blogging, my reflections, but I've noticed this summer there are so many amazing reflections happening in the form of sketch notes and videos and screencasts, and I really want to learn more about screencasts. So this is my chance to try to improve and give it a try. So just wanted to thank the community for all the powerful different types of reflections, because it's making me want to do a better job with my reflections and to include some more of my thinking in this type of style. So chapter 3 was all about students remembering the teaching that we do. I like this quote here where it was talking about how Kate spent the day with a middle schooler. And they say there was a palpable tension between the sheer volume of information the students encountered in a day and the assumption of quick recall and application. Kate felt a nervous pang in her stomach. If she felt daunted to remember all this information in a day, how could this wonderful, somewhat scattered middle school student remember all of it? So that was kind of a wake-up call for me, that we do expect the students to sort of bounce from subject to subject with a lot of different information and recall it all very easily. And we can get frustrated that they seem to not remember from day to day the teaching, but I thought that was a really important point to think about. So one of my new understandings was that we need support, time, and repetition to make learning stick. That we can't think that just because we said it one day and hang a chart up, that students are going to always remember. So we need to, do a better job with the charts that we're creating, and then they do need some other time and support and repetition to really learn what we're teaching. I like this quote as well that said your students can be more thoughtful about what strategies they use in their reading and writing, and they can hold on to your teaching as time goes on, and they just need a little help. So this book is definitely making me think that I need to do a better job of helping my students to be more thoughtful about their strategies. So that was a really good understanding for me as well. A little more in chapter 3. So there was more information about ways to use charts, microprogressions, the demonstration notebook as ways to help students to hold on to your teaching and be more independent in their work. I loved the idea of the digital charts and then making post-its out of the charts. That was a cool idea, to take pictures and then have those pictures become post-its. So that's something I wanted to try. I also like this quote: when our students shrug at the mention of past lessons, instead of allowing this natural frustration to take hold, we can work to see what our students are really doing is communicating with us. They're saying, I'm not quite there yet, I'm having trouble holding on. And even more importantly, when we hear our students communicating this to us, we can help. That really did strike me, because I think sometimes with other teachers as well, when we're talking about our students and feeling like they don't understand, there's that natural blaming. When it's not really natural, but there's sometimes a feeling of blaming the students, or saying that they're not trying hard enough. Maybe they're lazy, maybe they just don't care. But maybe really what it is that we need to teach it in different ways, or teach it in a way that's going to help them really learn it. So it's kind of uncomfortable as a teacher to feel like I didn't do as good of a job as I should have, and that's why they don't know it. But maybe that's the more honest way to really think about, something didn't go right here, and so I need to try something else, because the ultimate goal is that the student is going to learn. So that was another wake-up call or aha for me. Chapter 4 was about rigor, and I have to say rigor is probably one of my least favorite words in the world. I really don't like the word rigor. I kind of bristle at it. So even as I was reading this, I was trying to think of what word I would want to use instead, because it just really conjures up very negative feelings for me. I feel like I just think I need a better word for having high standards or working hard, but rigor, it's just one of those words that I don't enjoy and find it unsettling. But anyway, it was the focus of chapter 4. Students often don't know what to keep working on when they finish a task or are not able to visualize ways to improve it. And I think back to some of the things I said to my third graders when they would finish something earlier than the others, and I'd be like, well, is it your best? Can you? And they kind of shrug and be like, yeah, it's the best I could do. But did they really not understand how they could improve it or other ways to go back and work harder on it? I think that's probably the case, that it felt like it was their best. They finished it, right? What more could they do? So that was something for me to think about ways that I can help them envision improving something, which is tricky. Kate and Maggie talk about 5 ways to foster a culture of rigor. They talk about challenge. I like the idea of the video game, that the levels, as you go up levels, things get harder. And that's part of the allure of video games, that you want to beat the next level. And I do think that that's a cool way to help students to. We've used badges last year for the first time, and it was fun for them to try to earn different badges. So I think that is definitely a cool thing to consider. The idea of competition I didn't love, because I feel like there's so many different levels of kids, and I like the idea more of cooperation and just working towards our personal best. Didn't love the idea of having the kids, try to compete with each other to improve, or seeing somebody else's work as a higher quality. I just feel like there's so many different levels of students that working towards your personal best is the way to go. Then the last slide talked about having some digital tools, and I really like having the students explain things with the programs like Show Me or Explain Everything. A couple of times last year I showed my students other students solving a problem in math in that type of format, and they were really responsive and captivated by other students explaining, and they wanted to try it too. So I need to figure out ways to help them do that this year around tools that they're learning. The last thoughts were rigor has at least 2 components: the difficulty of the task at hand and persistence and dedication of the students working toward the task. So I feel like there's a lot to this last one about persistence and dedication. I also think that besides that, you have to consider a student's confidence level, their optimism about if they're going to be able to do something, their resilience when they're trying something and it's hard and they're having setbacks. How easy is it for them to try again? And their flexibility, if they try one strategy and it doesn't work, can they tap into other ways to keep working and get to that higher level? It makes me think of A Mindset for Learning, which I read last year and highly recommend, as it calls to mind all of those important skills that students need. So I think there's many things involved in a student working to that level, and we have to kind of be aware of all of those aspects that could possibly be preventing a student from working at their highest level. I do think it's really important to teach students all of these things, but a big part of me thinks about their motivation, and if they don't care about the assignment, and I don't think any microprogression or work that we're showing them or any bookmark is really going to make them do it unless they really care about the work. So while these strategies are really helpful, I think we also just have to be really mindful about keeping the assignments really authentic and engaging, and having those real purposes for a lot of what we're doing, because if you don't have that, it's still just schoolwork at the end of the day, no matter what tool we use. So I think making sure we have that first really solid level of having students do important, meaningful work, and then these are the great tools to help them to improve. Those are my reflections on chapter 3 and 4. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye.